my gosh. Well, you have been such an integral part of my spiritual growth. And, I think I started going to Agape 14 years ago.
Wow.
Which is life-changing, and taking meditation classes with you. And truly, you were probably one of the biggest, catalysts or enablers for me to even do Heal, because you taught me so much about listening to the calling in my heart and trusting if it's there, and if it's tapping on your shoulder every day or whispering in your ear or whatever the communication is, that everything needed to see that vision through is already within that
That's right.
calling. And so I just knew that I had to answer that call to do Heal. And it took a little while for the divine timing to line up, but you helped me see that and gain confidence that anytime we feel this passion, or if we start to pay attention to something we're talking about, lights us up inside, that's a signpost, that's a light post to our purpose here in this lifetime. So you are about to do this summit about the sacred yes and saying yes to you, and I think that's all about that. Can you explain to us a little bit about saying yes to you?
Yeah, absolutely. As you have discovered, everyone has a great destiny. We're loaded and coded with a destiny that's bigger than our history. The destiny is always bigger than our history, and potential is always bigger than any problem. And so individuals sometimes get caught up in the milieu of society, status quoism, trying to fit in, things of that particular nature. But there's always beating upon us something that wants to come forward, something that wants to come out. And when we pay attention to it, as you said, it carries everything necessary for its own unfoldment. Just like a seed that's planted in the ground, within that seed is an energetic pattern of the rose bush or of the avocado tree or the oak tree. It's already within it, but it has to be in the proper condition for it to unfold. So what you did was you listened and you did your inner work so that you became the vibrational condition for that seed idea to unfold through you that's now touched countless beings on the planet, letting them know that their body can heal itself, letting them know that they can participate in their own healing, their own unfolding. So everyone has this. I tell people there are no special people. There are only people who have specialized. They specialized in listening. They specialized in spiritual practice. They specialized in asking the right questions, so that what looks like a special person is a person who's practiced. You put a piano in front of somebody, if they haven't specialized in practicing, they're going to think, oh, that person over there, he's special, she's special. But they spent hours of specializing their fingers and their listening and their ability to emerge. So everyone has a destiny. There's no one, everyone has emerged from the eternal. Everyone has emerged with everything that this presence is and has. But the idea is, are we listening? And are we following? Are we transcending our fears? Are we saying yes to ourselves? Now, if we say yes to ourselves, as you know, and have put in your beautiful book and movie, everything changes. Tonic chemicals flow, immune system becomes enhanced, coherence of the brain happens, we hear differently, and we're no longer trying to draw our happiness or our gifts from the world. We're actually drawing it from within ourselves and bringing it to the world. So what does that make us? Empowered. We're empowered from within, and nothing can stop us but ourselves, and our own hesitation and inhibition and procrastination. But once we start walking in that direction, momentum takes over from inertia. Whew, we start to soar. And this is in every walk of life. Every being on the planet has it. And, the Buddha would tell us that once you hear the truth, your destiny changes. But you have to, there's different ways of hearing. There's hearing, oh, I heard it, I did nothing about it. Then there's hearing and I'm interested. and then just hearing, oh, I'm actually practicing and taking a step, life changes, as you've discovered.
Yes.
As I've discovered. I remember a number of years ago, pre-agape, I used to have a crook in my neck. I think I've told you this.
Yeah, I love the story because it embodies heal.
But it's so, and I'll always remember that because it was a telling point in my life. And I'd go to the chiropractor, get it fixed, it would always come back. And then one day I gave up my resistance to the destiny. And the moment I said a wholehearted yes to myself, my neck snapped into place and never went back out. That crook was a resistance to me. How am I going to do it? Do I have the talent to do it? Do I have the wherewithal? I was asking all the wrong questions. Once I just said yes, then life rushed in, and everything I needed showed up, sometimes even before I even needed it, and still continues to work that way to this day. Doesn't mean there's not challenges, but I'm in the yes. So the summit, saying yes to oneself, is about different people like Danielle Laporte, Sadhguru, Bob Proctor, Don Miguel Ruiz, Queen Afua, Neil Donald Walsh, even Sterling Brown is going to interview me, and others, basically carrying a different facet of what it means to say yes. And it's in honor and celebration of my appearance day, which is July 21st. And that's the way that Agape celebrates, fundraisers and all of that kind of thing. So
yeah. So cool. And happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy appearance day. I think the alignment story in your neck is so telling because I remember, and multiple people have said this in different ways, but when I interviewed Dr. Jeffrey Thompson for Heal, he said it, there comes a fork in the road at some point in your life where you choose to go the safe road or you choose to go follow your heart. And when you choose to go the safe road, what society, what your parents, what the voice in your head of doubt thinks is the one that's going to keep you comfortable and safe, that's when dis-ease occurs.
Yes.
Because you're out of alignment with your soul's calling
Yes.
and your gifts and your purpose. And it's so beautiful to see people who have gotten a wake-up call, and this is another thing you taught me that I put in Heal. It's like, once you take the safe route and you fork off from your alignment with your destiny and your gifts, the universe is going to nudge you quietly on the shoulder. You're off track.
Right.
Then maybe a couple of years later, it's going to whack you in the head.
Right.
And then, a few years later, you're going to wake up with a terminal diagnosis or something that's really going to force you to look at where you're out of alignment in your life.
Right.
Can you speak to that?
Right. In some structure of your life, whether it's your body temple, your mental body, your relationships, your financial body, there's something that's going to be out of alignment until you say yes. And so what occurs is, I've taught over the years that your pain pushes you until your vision pulls you. And so that pain is actually due to the fact that the universe, the multidimensional universe, is actually progressive. It's always expanding to reveal the infinite nature of the source. So some would say, that Einstein would say, the question we need to ask, is the universe friendly? I say, is the universe progressive? And so if you're not in alignment with the unfoldment of your soul, then you go into stagnation. And that creates a backlog of pain or suffering. Stagnation and hell mean the same thing, if you're stagnant. So where are the goodies? The goodies are outside of your present paradigm. The unsafe place, the unknown. The known, you've done that before. It's not stretching you. You're not becoming more yourself by just hanging in what you already know. It's risky, more risky, to stay in the known than it is in the unknown. Because the unknown, you're stretching. For instance, it's more risky for a chicken to stay in the egg than to break out. The chicken's in the egg, and it's safe. There's food. There's safety with the shell. It's all cool. But when the little chick starts to grow, it pollutes its environment. It's no longer safe. And instinctively, it begins to peck. And what happens? It comes into a world that it didn't even know existed, you see. So in the same way, we live in this known world. We learn how to navigate through coping mechanisms, defense mechanisms, all kinds of patterns to keep us safe. But there's another world waiting for us. So we don't do it through instinct. We do it through intuition. We know there's something more. We don't know what it is. We don't have to know what it is. But when we say yes to it, we start to break out of the status quo, out of the known, and then, oh my God, I didn't even know this existed. I didn't know this kind of joy, this kind of bliss, this kind of ecstasy. It doesn't exist within the small paradigm. It exists outside. You know, again, pre-agape, I used to work for the mayor of Los Angeles. I worked for Mayor Tom Bradley. In the 8th District, I was head of the senior citizen affairs in that district. I knew that wasn't my full destiny, but I loved being of service. But every single day, I would leave City Hall, and I would go to the beach, and I would go to this place called my power spot. And I would take off my tie and my suit top and my shirt, and I would do my breathing exercises, and I would look at the vast ocean and the abundance of the ocean. I would look at the grains of sand, and I would get into this feeling tone of just being so connected to the presence. And I said to myself that when I am in alignment with what I'm called to do, this is how I'm going to feel. So as the years went on, and I said yes to being a spiritual therapist, doing workshops, seminars, and then ultimately founded Agape. When I'm in the flow of that, it's exactly how I felt on the beach. When I'm speaking, when I'm counseling, when I'm teaching, when I'm traveling around doing what I'm called to do, even when I'm going into the hospital to deal with people or doing a memorial service, I have the same energy of bliss that I had when I was at the beach. You know, so that let me know that I'm in alignment with this flow of energy that wants to know itself as us, you see. So it's risky to stay in the known, but there's no risk when you break out and become yourself, you see.
Yeah.
You know, and I just have to say that most people don't really have bliss and ecstasy. What they have is temporary happiness based on an external condition. So if this happens that I like, I'm happy. If this happens that I don't like, I'm unhappy. So it's an up and down yo-yo experience. But when you start to say yes to you, even if things occur that are challenging and you don't like, it doesn't impinge upon your peace of mind. You don't like it, but you're bigger than it. You know, sadness may pass through, but it's come to pass. It's not come to stay, you know. And I really want people to live that life because it's possible. It's not like for special people.
Yes.
It's for anyone who puts in the time, the sincerity, the earnestness, to ask the right questions, to do the spiritual practice, whatever your soul call is. Whew, I'm telling you. Life is meant to be. Life is meant to be magnificent.
Thank you for listening to the Heal podcast. Be sure to tune in for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. Oh, and make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. And if you feel inspired, we would love you to rate and review us so that we have the opportunity to reach more people. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram for some behind-the-scenes fun and more inspiration at @HealDocumentary and @Kelly Gores. Thank you so much and be well.